Good morning. Happy Saturday. I don't want to get into too many details of the lawsuit that Earl filed against me because, well, obvious reasons. But again, concentrating on just the issue that Felipe Hemming pointed out, where his name and Chris's name and the Hemming Firm LLC's name is misspelled throughout the entire document with one M. I have received comments that is not fatal to the case. And let me just explain to you why it is fatal unless Earl amends his complaint to correct for it. And it's not fatal as long as he just amends his fucking complaint. It's pretty simple to... What are you doing? You sniffing? Come on. It's not that bad. There are worse things in his complaint. The issue is Fifth Amendment requires notice and an opportunity to be heard. And the notice has to actually say who is being sued. There's a reason why they put names all over everything on a complaint, on a summons. The summons is specific. It's the person named in the summons, not the person who the plaintiff intended to name, but it's the person who's named in the summons that is being summoned. And if a default judgment issues because the person named in the summons fails to appear, then the name on the default judgment is going to be the person named in the complaint, because the complaint is the notice, and the Fifth Amendment requires due process. Due process requires notice. Notice requires it to actually say who the fuck is being served. And you might think it's persnickety, but it's not, because there are people out there with similar names, etc. And if you screw up, you might know that Earl's intending to sue you, but if Earl is not smart enough to actually sue you, then this isn't going anywhere. And he doesn't have to put, it's not, he sued me as John E. Rietveld II. He didn't have to put my whole middle name in there. He could have just put John Rietveld in there and that would have worked just fine too. But the problem is if he misspells a name, then that is going to lead to disaster. And let me explain why. If he gets a judgment, a default judgment against Felipe and Krista, he's never going to be able to collect it, because he's going to turn in a wage garnishment to one of their employers, and that employer is going to look at that and they're going to say, well, shit, this isn't the right name. If I garnish Hemming with 2 M's wages, then I'm going to get my ass sued off by the Hemming, because this only says to garnish Hemming with 1 M's wages. If I try to levy Hemming with 2 M's bank account with a levy that has a judgment attached to it with Hemming with 1 M on the judgment, the bank isn't going to do anything. So, yeah, it is actually a requirement. And you can't, at the end of the lawsuit, say, you know what, Your Honor, I know my complaint says one name, but I would like the judgment to reflect another name, because the judge is going to be like, well, you didn't give Hemming with 2 M's notice and an opportunity to be heard. So yeah, it is fatal. It is the Fifth Amendment. It is due process. Due process requires notice and an opportunity to be heard. It is mandatory. You're not going to be able to collect any judgments without it. It's, it's not the end of the world for Earl, but it is necessary. And speaking of end of the world for Earl, no, he has not served me yet. Don't know if he intends to, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.